This is 4029 News Sunrise.
This morning we are remembering and honoring the life of Corporal Deputy Bill Cooper. Thank you for joining us. I'm Daniel Armbruster.
And I'm Una Lee. And Deputy Cooper served the community for 15 years in Sebastian County, but his life was cut short during a shootout last Wednesday.
Yeah, he was responding to a disturbance call. It was hit during the hours-long standoff. Corporal Cooper was recently promoted to serve as a community officer to help bring police and our community closer together.
And today, law enforcement agencies from around the state make their way to the River Valley for the funeral of Corporal Deputy Bill Cooper. 4029's Pedro Rivera live at the Convention Center at Fort Smith with how the community is remembering the fallen deputy. And Pedro, this is open to the public, right?
Yeah, the funeral is open to the public. There's going to be friends and families making their way right here to the Fort Smith Convention Center you see behind me to remember Deputy Cooper. Now, also there's going to be his extended family here, whether it's someone he helped here in Sebastian County or his family, of course, behind the badge. Now, the Fort Smith Convention Center is setting up for at least 2,800 people to make their way to today's funeral. According to Deputy Cooper's obituary, Cooper did love roses, but in lieu of flowers, the family's asking for you to make a donation to St. Jude's, or you can make a donation to the family by visiting any Farmers Bank in the area. If you make a donation and you go to the bank, you could just ask for your money to be donated towards a Deputy Bill Cooper Memorial Fund. Now, the Sebastian County Sheriff's Department says that there are several GoFundMe pages online that may be set up on behalf of the Cooper family, but they cannot guarantee that the family will receive those monies. So if you do want to make a donation today, those are some options to do that. Now, that funeral, it's expected to begin today at 10 o'clock this morning right here at the Convention Center. Then there's going to be a procession following that's going to make its way up Garrison Avenue. It's going to be quite the sight to see. Live in Fort Smith, Pedro Rivera, 4029 News.
Several law enforcement agencies honored Cooper, saying that he gave the ultimate sacrifice at Deputy Bill Cooper's visitation last night. Deputies wore a black band with the number 34 on their badges. That was Cooper's badge number. 4029 spoke with the mayor of Greenwood about how the community is coping with Deputy Cooper's death.
You see it on the news and you realize it happens other places, but you don't expect it in your own hometown. It's just tragic. But I knew him as a lot of people do, that he was just that friendly police officer that was always there to do whatever he could to help anybody.
Officers from as far away as Seattle, Texas, and Chicago attended the visitation.
And while Sebastian County law enforcement says goodbye to their fellow Deputy Bill Cooper, several Northwest Arkansas departments are also covering the duties so that they can attend the funeral. 4029's Joshua Cole tells us about that.
As Sebastian County prepares to say goodbye to Deputy Bill Cooper, the region as a whole is coming together. Bentonville Police Department told us that it didn't matter the distance, they're ready to come support, and Fayetteville Police as well, sending their honor guard to be present. We talked with several law enforcement departments in Northwest Arkansas, and they all say that officers plan to come to pay their respects and honoring their fellow fallen officer.
That's the common bond that we share, is that we all have a calling on our life to serve our community in the capacity we do, full well knowing that this could happen.
We spoke with the Benton County and Washington County Sheriff's Departments, and they tell us that they will be sending deputies to assist in covering duties at the Sebastian County Detention Center as well, so that way their deputies can attend today's funeral. We're in Bentonville. I'm Joshua Cole, 4029 News.
All right, Josh.
Live, local, late breaking. This is a 4029 News Update.
Well, this morning we are remembering the fallen. We here at 4029 are breaking in for special coverage of fallen Sebastian County Deputy Corporal Bill Cooper. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. I'm Daniel Armbruster.
And I'm Una Lee, and we are taking a live look right now inside the Fort Smith Convention Center. Funeral services are underway any moment now. We're waiting for that, scheduled to happen at 10 o'clock. Deputy Cooper served the community for 15 years in Sebastian County. His life was cut short during a shootout last Wednesday. And that is a look at the hearse there that arrived today to the Fort Smith Convention Center. The casket arriving there earlier this morning. Corporal Cooper is survived by his wife Ruth, a son named Scott, his sister Ginger, and 3 grandchildren. Nearly 3,000 people are expected to attend Corporal Cooper's funeral.
And we do want to go back inside to the convention center where the service will be held here in about 13 minutes. 4029's Kelly Johnson is inside. And Kelly, there are already many people who have arrived.
Yeah, that's right. You guys mentioned thousands of people. When you walked in this morning and saw the empty chairs, it was a sight to behold. And now when you see the chairs that are filled, it is just an incredible sight. I'm going to step out of the way so you can take a look. The first half of these thousands of seats set up were reserved for law enforcement officers. We had officers not just from our area and our surrounding jurisdictions, Northwest Arkansas, saw Bella Vista here, Benton, Washington County Sheriff's Department has a presence, North Little Rock Police Department, but we also have people here that didn't know Deputy Cooper. We have law enforcement officers here from Chicago and as far away as Seattle that were so touched by this tragedy and felt such a bond as being part of the law enforcement community that they were compelled to come here.
Here is a comment from Gary Carmack in Fort Smith, and he writes in part, as a classmate from grad school through high school, I am deeply saddened to that Bill's life was taken from us. We honor him in doing the things that most of us don't appreciate, protecting us and putting himself in the line of fire in doing so.
And this next one from Brenda Wilson in Fort Smith as well, and she writes, quote, prayers from all family and friends. I only knew you for a short time while I was a Sebastian County deputy, and you will be dearly missed. Thank you for your services.
4029's Brett Rains now joins us. And Brett, tell us where you are and what you've been observing this morning.
Yeah, you know, we're live at the cemetery where fallen Deputy Bill Cooper will be laid to rest. Now this morning, just minutes after 8 o'clock, Greenwood Police escorted the body of our fallen deputy from the First Baptist Church in Greenwood. As they did that, firefighters and first responders lined the streets and saluted as the body of Bill Cooper was escorted from the church to the Fort Smith Convention Center.
Yes.
Beginning here, so we're going to back off and listen in.
The amount of love and compassion that has been shown to our department has been overwhelming.
Sheriff Hollenbeck, ladies and gentlemen, as everyone in this room knows, this year we have lost 38 law enforcement officers in the line of duty across the nation.
We stand here today with heavy hearts as we consider a good man who gave his life for the citizens of his county.
I come to the garden alone while the dew is still on the roses.
We do have a camera there at the cemetery, and we will continue our coverage of Bill Cooper's life and remembering his life and service to our community.
That's right. We just want to touch on some of the things that was said at the funeral services too. Of course, this is all about Bill Cooper, is what the sheriff said, and he wanted to make sure that parents, you teach your kids to respect and not fear officers. That's what Bill Cooper would have wanted. Then he addressed political leaders, and he said, if you hear hatred, respond with love. The country has to come together, and also anger from both sides has to stop. This is a live look now outside of the Fort Smith Convention Center where the funeral services are wrapping up. There is the casket of Corporal Bill Cooper being escorted out.
A live look now at the cemetery, Oak Cemetery in Fort Smith, where they're preparing for the graveside service or the cemetery service for Corporal Bill Cooper. He will get full police honors and military honors at today's service for his 20 years of service in law enforcement and also his service in the United States military as a Marine. But now you can see their lights are coming on the motorcycles, and they are taking off right now.
And there is the hearse making its way. Remember the pallbearers for Corporal Cooper, Sebastian County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard, but it says honorary pallbearers today, all law enforcement officers.
You can see there are people on the sides of the streets, and as the procession begins, there it is at the bottom of your screen, starting to creep a little bit more to the top of the screen there. The hearse is arriving there at the cemetery.
Yes, followed by the long procession, police protection here.
We're going to listen in just for a moment and
we're certainly in the hundreds, Daniel, because we've counted, definitely, we're in the hundreds, for sure.
Yeah.
How many people are, how many law enforcement officials and crews are out today?
You saw so many people there in the service at the convention center wiping away the tears, and even the sheriff getting a little emotional.
Yeah, let's listen in. Corporal Bill Cooper.
Yeah.
American flag draped.
And as Una said, we'll just listen in here for a moment,
Yes.
and if y'all want, you can cut our mics off.
Hugging, and you see a tough morning for law enforcement officials, and also a tough week. They lost one of their own.
A brother, as they would say,
yes.
Yeah. And you heard them during the bagpipes. They called out his badge number, 34, over the police radio as one last time to honor him and his service to our community. And that is going to conclude our special coverage of Deputy Bill Cooper and remembering his life and service to our community. And it's been a very tough day, but as the governor said, we will move forward, we will heal, and we will find peace.
And Bill Cooper will not be forgotten.
remembering Deputy Bill Cooper and his life of service.
Cooper set an example, father, husband, community leader, and protector.
How can we stop the violence? Be like Bill Cooper.
What a humbling testament and testimony today to see this room full of uniforms from all over our great land. We will miss his smile.
Today, the law enforcement community came together to remember Deputy Bill Cooper, a man who served our community for 2 decades and served our country as a Marine.
Let's bring in Kelly Johnson, who is live outside the Fort Smith Convention Center, where hundreds of people gathered today to remember Deputy Bill Cooper.
That's right, guys. It was just an incredible outpouring of support here. The community wrapping its arms around the law enforcement officers who were here from all over the country to pay their respects to fallen Deputy Bill Cooper. Not just hundreds, thousands of people packed in here to the Fort Smith Convention Center for his funeral. But you know what? It really wasn't until they actually left to go to Oak Cemetery that you could understand the magnitude of just how many people were here. What you're looking at right now is video of the procession, at least 1,000 cars long for Deputy Cooper. You can see the American flag draped by the fire department, the sides of Garrison Avenue lined with people, some who knew Cooper, others who were just touched by his sacrifice. We're going to take you inside the funeral service here in just a few moments, but now we want to go to 4029's Brett Rains. Brett, you were at the cemetery. You spoke exclusively with Deputy Cooper's family just moments after they said their final goodbyes.
Yeah, Kelly, hundreds of people filled Oak Cemetery to say their final goodbyes to Corporal Cooper. Cooper's nephew tells me the support from our community has been overwhelming to his family. Bagpipes rang out. Deputies carried the body of their fallen brother for the final ceremony.
Honored to be a nephew, to be in his life. I've never seen so many people come out and share their hearts, and to see the support coming out from the community is just amazing, and I'm so proud to be an Arkansan. Corporal Cooper is being honored as a hero who gave his life while protecting others. He was 66 years old. Yes, he is. No doubt in my mind. He was a hero before that. Hero before that. He could have retired, but he loved being a part of it. And that sacrifice, he didn't look at it as a sacrifice. He looked at it as giving to the community. Police saluted as taps played. The sheriff presented family members with the American flag that covered the coffin. Then it was the last radio call for the fallen deputy. We're going to miss him. When a chunk of your life is gone, it can't be replaced.
And that last radio call, you heard them say 10-7 and 10-42. That means that an officer is out of service and that officer is now at home. Now family and deputies tell me now it's time for our community to heal and to move on. They say that's because that's exactly what Corporal Cooper would have wanted. Live in Fort Smith, Brett Rains, 4029 News.
Gosh, Brett Rains, thanks so much. Heartbreaking, really hard to watch. Back here live at the Fort Smith Convention Center, this is where it all started today. Deputy Cooper's funeral, his family, his friends, thousands of law enforcement officers from all across the country came here to honor the man who, after a whole life of service, made the ultimate sacrifice last week.
You've already heard the bagpipes today. They are our message of goodbye to Corporal Cooper, that warrior, that defender, that when the shots were being shot, he didn't go the other way. He went to the source of them and gave himself, even as the Lord said, in supreme sacrifice.
Deputy Bill Cooper may no longer be with us, but the photo that's set next to his casket served as a reminder that his legacy of family and service and that smile with the power to lift spirits will never be forgotten.
Corporal Bill Cooper set an example for us all, an example as a father, husband, community leader, and protector. While others flee danger, Corporal Bill Cooper confronted the danger so that we might live in peace.
So many in the room today could put themselves in Deputy Cooper's shoes, responding to what seemed to be a routine call. No idea it would be the last. Sheriff Bill Hollenbeck providing comfort to them.
We sometimes feel that other people don't understand what we do each day, but rest assured your community does. They appreciate you, they love you, and they do respect you. Please remember that.
Deputy Cooper will always be remembered as a true serviceman. He served our country in the United States Marine Corps, then the city of Fort Smith as an officer, finally the Sebastian County Sheriff's Department, where one of his duties was interacting with kids as a community resource officer.
He had that defender spirit. I think that's where his love of children came from so deeply.
Deputy Cooper's end of watch closed the door on 15 years of service to Sebastian County, but the impact of his service is only now starting to be realized by officers who strive to achieve the same servitude.
In honoring Bill Cooper, let us not allow evil acts such as this from distracting us from what we are called to do. Bill Cooper was here right now, he would tell you to stand your ground and do what is right.
It's powerful words. Sheriff Bill Hollenbeck also took some time to thank the deputies and other law enforcement officers who put themselves at risk that day, going into the line of fire to get Deputy Cooper out of danger. They actually treated his injuries until EMS arrived on scene. All in all, an extremely powerful day. In Fort Smith, Kelly Johnson, 4029 News.
Powerful indeed. Kelly, thanks so much. Well, downtown Fort Smith today was shut down for more than an hour as the body of Deputy Bill Cooper made its way to Oak Cemetery. Here you can see video of the procession of emergency responders, police officers, and fire departments as they followed the family to the cemetery. The Fort Smith Fire Department held an American flag over Garrison Avenue while hundreds of people gathered on the streets to remember the life of Deputy Bill Cooper.
And to see the support from in this whole area of the country, you know, it's amazing. I hope that it says something to our police department, our sheriff department, that they are a brotherhood and that we support them.
The couple says they wore green today to show their support for the sheriff's department.
Departments from across Arkansas and across the country showed up to support their brothers and sisters in law enforcement on a hard day. Our cameras displayed some of the law enforcement insignia who were from other Arkansas departments like Hot Springs and the sheriff's departments like Grant in today's procession, all to show their support for Bill Cooper and local law enforcement. Now, a lot of people who lined up on Garrison Avenue knew Deputy Cooper personally. We caught up with the man who worked with Deputy Cooper at the clerk's office. He says Cooper's spirit was the same wherever he went. He just wanted to help people.
He would do anything for anybody. I'm telling you, he would do anything for anybody.
Cooper's brothers and sisters in law enforcement came together after the emotional ceremony. A luncheon was held today at the Fort Smith Convention Center for friends, family, and law enforcement. We spoke to Lieutenant Governor Tim Griffin, who says he'll draw on today's event when presiding over a graduation ceremony for reserve deputies tonight.
These are people that are doing this for free, the ones that I'm going to see tonight, right? They are volunteer reservists, and so you know, I'm gonna let them know how valuable that is.
Several people at today's luncheon shared their memories of Deputy Bill Cooper, saying he had a warm nature. And today, as we remember the life of fallen Deputy Bill Cooper, we have a way for you to show your support. If you go to our website, 4029tv.com, you'll find a memorial fund where you can donate money or leave comments for Deputy Cooper's family. Stay with us. We're back after this.